Let's try this. Probably YouTube doing their thing. Man, that dude's ugly. Anybody in here yet? Maybe I won't. Maybe I shouldn't go live, right? Fortunately, I had something to say. Did you get a notification, Nittany Lion? Let's see. Alright. There we go. Now we got some people. Finally got a notification. Cool. We get some more people in here. We're going to talk because now I just put up a video. I attempted to go live just a minute ago and I called it C'est La Vie, bitch, because that comes from my very good friend James DeJong, bigrigceo, who just went on a rant. So go to his channel. He's in the chat here. Go to his channel. Check it out. Okay. And it was a good rant because it reflects the exact sentiment I've had. If anybody who's been following the trucking world on social media, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of it, you're going to see a lot of hatred, discontent, and flames. And for good reason. Now, you're probably sitting here saying, what can you tell us? Because you're sitting at home, you're not doing anything. Well, I got to load tomorrow. I work this week, okay? So don't think I'm over here slacking, okay? So I know that there's a little tiny circle group of you that think that I don't know how to run business, okay? You have no idea what I deal with at home, and you have no idea what my goals are, what my costs are, what my business ideas are. And so in extreme circumstances, you know, I can survive, okay? And I'm entitled to take a week or two off, right? Am I not? So we'll get that out of the way first, okay? We're calling a rant, but we're going to tell a story. How's that? Okay? Nittany Lion, bigrigceo, Gary Sandusky, GNC Family Truckin', Ralph Lodo, B. Craighead, I'm doing all right. Jason, OTR David, nothing witty. You were first on the other one. Waving from York, PA, says Mike Miller. John Armstrong, I am a slacker. You're absolutely right. Not me, says Provost. Ervaquero, John Armstrong, bigrigceo had a great rant. Almost James' best quality. Shanna, what's up? Anybody who's rolled through southeast Missouri, northeast Arkansas, what do you have out there? Or the Flint Hills in Kansas, what do you see? Certain times of the year, the fields. You burn the fields. And I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he kind of gave me the inspiration for this little, I don't know, tidbit, nugget, bullshit, whatever, however you want to look at it. And every year, some kind of farm, it sounds strange, but you burn the field, and that enriches the soil, and then your crops come up even better the next year. Mother Nature has a way of cleansing things, right? What this pandemic has done, and I hope the rain's not too distracting, is it set fire to a lot of business models. It has set fire to everything. And people are literally losing their minds. And here's the basics of it. Trucking is the canary in the coal mine to the economy. When things are not well in the country, we are not well in the country. And 99% of the problems that we are now facing, the lack of demand, layoffs, closings, the negative effects have all been caused by the government. Government told you can't open your store. The government said that you can't have more than 3 people in a room. The government said that you have to, sit 6 feet apart from each other. The government said that you're non-essential. The government said that you will or will not collect unemployment. The government said that you will or will not go to work. And we're going to give you some money. We're going to give you some hush money. We're going to make it easy to get unemployment, which it has been easy. I know people that have applied for unemployment can't get it. But then you got people that are rolling in it that really don't need it. It's an imbalanced system. Life is an imbalanced system. Mother Nature is an imbalanced system. 50 days of the year of no rain, and then you get 10 inches of rain in the course of 2 weeks. Right? That's why you're in the desert. That's how Mother Nature works. There's never a perfect balance of anything. Is it fair to the bugs and the ants when you burn the field? Well, the cows think it will be because they know that they'll benefit from it. Or the farmers do. The cows don't know anything. But the cows benefit from it, right? If the grass gets too long, what happens? The pests come in. And the field has trouble. The cattle get fat. And then next year it'll be hard to grow the crops. All the forest fires that you see in California was because the EPA said, hey, don't be trimming trees. Let's, hug the trees, not cut them down. Well, guess what? Mother Nature took care of it for them. And so the government has taken all the kindling, all the dry wood, all the dead wood, all of it, set the match. The fragile existence of our economy was set on fire just like that. That's it. A friend of mine called me yesterday. He called on a load, talked to a broker, and him and the broker went at it, had words. And the broker literally told him that until you guys stop taking it, it's just going to continue on cheap rates. And he's right. However, here, let me put it this way. Everything's on fire. If my house gets burned, I will only blame me. I won't blame the government. I won't blame the brokers. I won't blame the market conditions. I will only blame myself. Because I did not adapt and overcome. I adapted and overcame Landstar. I progressed, or thought I progressed, from Schneider. Every time that my business needed a model, a change, I made it. Now, do I have some debt? Yes. Am I perfect? No. Is the fire going to affect me? We'll see. Basically, what's happened is there's been a big reset button. And here's the deal, man. Everybody on Facebook and YouTube is arguing about whether to go to Washington, whether not to go to Washington, whether OIDA is doing something, whether OIDA is not doing something, whether the brokers need transparency or they don't need transparency, whether we need a minimum rate, whether we need a maximum percentage. You know, and the argument was brought to me like, well, what about real estate agents? You know, they only get 6%, right? Okay, so what happens is there's a manipulation of numbers, okay? I mean, how else can you look at a house that's 50 grand, but you paid 80 grand for it, you know? And I guarantee you, here's what's going to happen. So let's say we go to Washington right now, and we get brokers, you're only allowed to make X amount percentage-wise. But guess what? They'll change up the whole entire system. And when the rates should be spiked in the summer, because it's all talk now. But anybody who's anybody, by the time that anything's ever done in the government, it's going to be a year, 2 years from now, right? And I'm gonna tell you something. I want you to listen very carefully. And I'm gonna pull a bigrigceo and not read the comments for 2 minutes, okay? Make sure we're not getting wet here. All right. Rain's coming down pretty good. The spot market is not meant to sustain a business model. It's not, you can't sustain a business model with little or no cash or no backup. It's not meant to do that. It's not meant to help you with your high expenses. It is not meant to support 100% of your business. You know, everything on the line, right? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you got your credit shot, but you somehow, by some miracle, got a truck and you're paying on it, don't come out to the spot market. Ever. If you do come out to the spot market, and you do really great your first 6 months, Don't go out and buy that new car. Don't go out and buy that the new whatever. Don't raise your standard of living. Because you're going to need, and I'm going to tell you another secret. Did you know that there are other ways to make money in the trucking, these mega brokers for 80-cent mile loads? Did you know that? Did you know that most businesses have a profitable part of the year and a non-profitable part of the year? Goes back to the example I meant of don't raise your standard of living. I saw it at Landstar all the time. I watched guys go out of business because the first year I was at Landstar, man, rates were good. Rates were really good. But then they started to tank. And because of my limitations, because of my inability to adapt and overcome, and the rates keep tanking, and I had the wrong attitude, and I didn't have a mentor at that time. It didn't fail, but I knew I had to make some kind of adjustment. And once I found a good mentor, i.e. Jeffrey Like, he pushed me to Schneider, and I did well. Sold one truck, got another, right? I made adjustments. I took my weaknesses, and I took the weaknesses of part of the industry I didn't like, and I changed it. Needing the government to come in and change that. Name one thing the government did right in the trucking industry. And it's ironic that the majority of these people on Facebook, especially, that want the government to come in and create some kind of minimum rate or some maximum percentage for the brokers or some kind of transparency, we're against the ELDs. A government intervention in our industry. And it's amazing to me because the basic roots of it is supply and demand. That's it. It's supply and demand. And if the shippers are overpaying the brokers and they're keeping it all, who wouldn't be doing that? So let's say the government passes a law that the brokers can only make X amount percent. So what happens? The shipper saves money. So now the shippers never have to pay this extraordinary amount. Or let's say we can see what the broker's making, which you can after you've booked the load, to be honest with you. There's even a regulation in there for it. If the broker doesn't want to give up the money, he won't. And if people keep taking the loads, guess what? They'll keep selling for that. See, one of the biggest issues is that people assume that nobody's greedy. People assume that every businessman well, let me rephrase that. You can't assume that every businessman runs or works with morals. There are a lot of people in business that have a certain amount of greed and manipulation. I talked about that Friday night. You have to be clever, you have to be efficient, and you have to be able to take advantage of somebody. That is the business world we live in. Do I wish that everybody had morals and there was no greed? Sure. But greed is what put us here. In this state, in our country. And while everybody's arguing about whether we should go to Washington or whether White is doing enough or we need, the brokers doing this, brokers are doing that, you're missing the entire bigger picture. The bigger picture tells me that if I'm going to work with a broker, it's going to be one that I can get a decent rate with. It's one that I'm going to get a relationship with. And the problem I've had is that for this certain brokerage leaves or gets demoted or quits or gets fired. So then I'm dealing with a new guy. We have one brokerage where we've gone through like 4 new guys in the last year. I'm not defending brokers whatsoever. What I'm saying is, in the simplest form, our industry is driven by supply and demand. If your trucking company hauls nothing but auto parts and the auto plant shut down, your trucks are shut down. If your trucking company hauls nothing but paper, the paper plant shut down, you're out of work. If your trucking company hauls nothing but meat, your meat plant that you haul out of, you're shut down. You're scrambling for something else. The market was already oversaturated with trucks. The driver shortage was a myth. We've all known that, right? What we have here is the big field, and it's burning. It's a big cleansing. And whether or not you survive is based off just a few things. It's a simple thing. Adapt, overcome, analyze, remain calm. Don't make decisions based off emotion. Simple. That's it. And I don't know why that's so hard to understand. Am I oversimplifying it? Probably. But I'm not the smartest man. But I do know that when the economy is booming and there's not enough trucks, rates go up. The economy's doing so-so, and there's too many trucks, rates go down. And if there's a national emergency that shuts the majority of all businesses down, that full economy, rates tank. And somewhere out there, there's somebody watching this video or listening to this video that's doing okay. There are some people that are watching this that haven't been affected by this, other than they can't use bathrooms in some places. They gotta use a mask when they go to a certain town. There are some people watching this that have gotten sick from the virus. There's a true threat there. And what you're seeing across the entire landscape of Facebook and YouTube and everything else is panic, fear, anger, and I get it. I feel your pain. But pay attention to the ones that aren't making all the noise. Pay attention to the ones that are figuring stuff out quietly on their own. Big Face Trucker mentioned that. I watched a video of his this morning. Pay attention to the people that aren't, you know, and to think that we're going to get sympathy from the public. The only way the public's going to care about us is if they think that the fact that Walmart doesn't have any meat in their store right now, if you have to, like, well, why is there no meat? Well, there's plenty of meat at the plant. It's just that there's no trucks to bring it. Then maybe the country will kick in, but that's not the case. There's 50 trucks ready to take that meat. That's not there. And when you've got 30 million people out of work, and a large percentage of them don't know if they'll get their jobs even back, the last thing they want to hear is us crying about what's happening to us. You want to stand up? You want to make a difference? Run your business. Make it profitable. Adapt, overcome, and then teach. What's the best way to weed themselves out? But then let's teach the new ones. Teach the new ones how to run a business. Teach the new ones how to back up. Teach the new ones how to not take out your hood at 3 a.m. You want to make a difference? It starts one truck at a time with yourself. That's it. The fields are all scorched and black, and you remain standing. Call it a victory. I talk to a person, and they can reveal themselves here if they want. I know they're in here. But they ran a business for 5 years and never profited a dime. Then the 6th year, did pretty good. And I know this will probably annoy people, and I know it feels good. Trust me, I get it. It feels good to get everybody riled up. It feels good to stand in front of 100, 200, 300 people and raw, let's do this. Yeah, man, everything sucks. Let's make it better. I get that. Let's do that, right? That's human nature. And if you're one of these people that people look up to, and you're freaking out, and you don't have a game plan, then you're just making the situation worse. When I see the calm people freak out, then I know there's a problem. And bigrigceo, he did a video just before mine, and pretty much said a lot of things that have been in my head for a long time, for the last 2 weeks, to be honest with you. And I have friends that call me every day, and we're all talking about the same thing, the same discussions. Should we do this? Should we do that? You know, and the reality is it's supply and demand. If the broker world does not suit your needs, leave it. Because it has never been changed. It will never change. And if you can get some miracle out of your butt to get the government to step in, which is the last thing you want, but let's say you do that, careful what you wish for, they will find a way to adapt and overcome. The smart ones will. And then we'll be back in the same boat, except with more government intervention. Is Coca-Cola without morals? If they charge you $2 for cost them probably a quarter total to make this, is that without morals? Do we need the government to step in and say Coca-Cola can only make X amount per bottle? If they went up to $5 a bottle, then yeah, we're price gouging. And that's a valid argument. But see, the shippers aren't griping about the brokers. If the shippers want to attack the brokers and say, hey, they're price gouging us, they don't care if the driver's getting it. Walmart does not care if TQL gave you everything that they paid. Walmart does not care. They hired that broker to do one thing only, move their shit. And somebody at Walmart is going to be like, well, why did the truck take it for this if I'm paying this? Oh, because he negotiated that? Huh, okay. Wow, that broker's a really good negotiator. Well, if he's leaving that much room, maybe we need to lower our deal. We'll negotiate. There's a deeper wheel, a deeper gear in the mechanics of the economy, in logistics, the economics and logistics. There's a deeper wheel that we barely understand. You got drivers out here that don't even know the cost per mile, don't know how to calculate their cost per mile. But they're smart enough to go up to Washington, D.C. and tell the government that the brokers are screwing. If I base my entire model off the spot market, and that's not good enough for me, well, it's a lot easier to change what I'm doing than it is to change the brokers. And no, I'm not leaving like trucking. Don't get that in your head. But there are ways to reach brokers without load boards. There are ways to do freight for brokers without having to run 80-cent mile loads. And right now, everything's at a backhaul rate. Now, with that being said, the load I picked up tomorrow is paying $2.46 a mile for 300 miles. Not bad. For last month. So the same as that was. And get this. Pale Rider. He's in here. He's like, what? Huh? Companies like Central Hauling, CalArc, Crete, JB Hunt, many small carriers. How many have seen the sign on the back of the trailers? We pay our operators $97, $98 $8 a mile plus fuel surcharge. How long has Pale Rider been in business? Pale Rider, how many trucks are you on? You're on your third truck, right? How many trucks have you paid off? 2. And I have yet to not be able to negotiate a rate higher than what Pale Rider makes. Or I mean lower than what Pale Rider makes, right? I don't know what Pale Rider makes, a rough idea, but a lot of these carriers pay 90 cents a mile plus fuel surcharge in your dispatch. So if you're picky about where you go, or if you need $250 a mile or $800 a day, or if you have a crappy attitude, this fire that's going through our industry will consume you. It will take you out unless you've made steps to absorb yourself. I'm a picky person. I'm not the guy that's going to go to Seattle and back. But if I absolutely had to, I would. But I fixed it where I don't have to. Now, if I was driving a brand new truck, that'd be a different story. But this truck has a $30,000 breakdown. It's in place to help me with that, just in case that happens. I've prepared for the worst. And guess what? The worst is here. Almost. And the only way you're going to get your blood pressure down, the only way that you're going to survive this is to not be reactionary to the things that you see, the things you're going through. It is frustrating to be in a truck stop, 890 the most challenging. It's not the rates as much as the volume. You know, I'm afraid to go to Salt Lake City because the last time I looked at Salt Lake City, Utah, there was maybe 10 loads within a 300-mile radius going to worst areas for less than $1 a mile. No, that ain't happening. But if I knew a broker that had good freight in that area, had solid contracts, and he can get me out, and then I'm not even looking at that low board. Do you see how that works? You know, and granted, if you're a one truck operation, it's hard. You know, people say, well, just go to the shipper and get it yourself. You know what I mean? Well, that's a valid argument. But when you're a one truck pony, and you're a one truck show, and you don't have more than one trailer, that's hard to do. Now, I've been looking at my area, my situation. And there are loads that I could do if I had multiple trailers and be able to deliver them and make pretty good bang. But my failure is I don't have the money to invest in multiple trailers. But that's how contracts are won. Hey, so-and-so broker, I notice that you have 3 of these loads a day and they're short. So how about we do a drop trailer situation? I got 2 trailers I can drop. Let's do this. And that broker goes, hey, that's a good idea. We like that. Let's come up with the rate, and we'll never put this on our load board for anybody else to move. As long as you do it, or if you can get it covered. See how that works? Now, guys, I went like literally 3 months without using the DAP board or 123 load board at all. 3 months in 2019. And it was wonderful. I was still negotiating. I was still wheeling and dealing. I wasn't dispatched. I wasn't just taking crap rates. I was making consistent money with the second set of eyes on a good foundation of freight that this broker had. Okay? He didn't screw me, and I didn't screw him. When he needed me to give a little bit, I did. When I needed him to give a little bit, I did. And that's how that works. The problem is the pandemic can create a situation where that mega broker, they don't have anything. And if they do, you don't have first dibs, but somebody else has already gone in there and made that relationship. And the brokers watch our channels. We had a guy over at Coyote that emailed me after one of my live feeds and was like, hey man, I really enjoyed your video. I appreciate that. And that made me go, wow, cool. I once watched a YouTuber pension. Do you think that that carrier had a chance with that broker after that? No. Because the broker was literally watching him on YouTube. YouTube does not give us leverage. You know, I can't call TQL up and go, hey, you know what? I got a YouTube channel. I'm going to bash you if you don't give me the rate that I want. That's not how it works. It's all about, there's a fiery wasteland coming across the land. The economy is done. It's in the tank. You have to learn how to survive in the new jungle, in the new world. Okay? They could easily close everything down again for the second wave. What are you going to do then? And guess what? Here's another thing. If you don't survive this fire, you brush yourself off, you get back up, and you try again. This pandemic is going to reveal your weaknesses financially, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Bill Gates has already said that phase 4, which is normalcy, will never happen until there's a vaccine. Jeff, we're talking about the world. It's already rumors. For some reason, a couple of people think I'm leaving light trucking. I'm not. I've got one load booked, and tomorrow I will have to book the Monday load. So I got $246 a mile for that. So I'm not hungry. I'll be eating in a little bit. My wife's she's so cute. Have fun with your friends. I had to go to the dentist today, so she's making some carbolicious stuff, and I already bought a bunch of hamburger and some rice vegetables because I can't. Why am I in trouble, Jeff? Oh, because of my wife coming out? Duty. Alright, let's go to the comments. I'm going to pull a bigrigceo and go through all the comments at once here. Oh, where were we? We were at Shanna. Ryan Reed, hello from Cypress, Texas. Truck for Life. Ralph Floto, John Armstrong, Lady Trucker 81. Hello, everyone. How's everyone today? We are fine. Provo says, really? Smash that like button. Dang it, Ralph. You're in my prayers. What happened to Ralph? You got the virus again, Ralph? That's crazy. He's sick. Silly. I would have to have a mind to lose. Santa Rosa, New Mexico. I love New Mexico. I really, look, a broker approached me about doing a dedicated run going out to Phoenix. I would love, 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 love to do that. I used to live out there. Unfortunately, getting that connection to come back is sketchy at best, and the rate that he wants to go down there for isn't enough for a round trip or almost a round trip. Skinny Steve is so handsome. Aww. My analogies are frightening. Shadow Wolf is in the house. Next Gen, Sammy Mac. Diversify your business just as you would your income money. Never get caught with all your eggs in one basket. Right, GNC. And here's why I entered the spot market. Jeff, you're going to love this because we're going to brag here for a minute. People ask me, if you were doing so good at Schneider, why did you leave? And here's the market under light trucking. Right? Because at Schneider, you're limited to their load board. Landstar, you're limited to their load board to a certain degree. Now, you can find a load that TQL might have if you're at Landstar and call up TQL and call up a Landstar agent to see if they can make that deal. But then more people get a piece of your pie. So it's very Landstar makes that difficult, but it is doable. But regardless, I had a limited platform. And I came over here, bought my trailer, because I had ambitions. I had a plan with the trailer that hasn't panned out, so I'm making other adjustments, right? And so I came over for opportunity to be able to diversify like that, you know? Team Tiny. This is time my expenses go crazy. For some reason, wonder why. Also, my revenue goes in the toilet. I guess I spend too much and stay home too long, not working. James Best, no notification. As technology progresses, will there even be brokers? What about marketplaces that shippers and carriers access directly? Team Tiny, that is already in the works. What do you think Amazon's getting ready to do? That is already in the works. There was a group that was at Max last year that talked about being that direct person. They go into the shipper and negotiate for you. They kind of put their foot in the door for you to get in. Then they make a percentage based off of just the one transaction, and then boom, you're in good with the shipper. But that tells me that the people that can create that. You know, here you guys want to fight against brokers? Change the system. Don't ask the government to regulate it. Change the system. Whatever way, whether you get the government to do shit or not, whether you can change the system. See, that's the thing that everybody's missing. We can make all the noise we want in Washington, and maybe that'll create change that will survive now. You need to diversify now. You need to figure shit out now. With or without the government's help. With or without the changing of the system. Stuart, yep, it is raining. Rain is better than snow. Absolutely right, Shadow. How are you, like Schneider? Robert says, don't go to Salt Lake. Absolutely, Robert, I know. RD, what's up? I told you, Robert, not to do that. But no, you don't listen to me, Robert, do you? Now we're scamming through these comments. Howdy from OTJB land, says Kevin. One of these days, Robert will actually listen to something I tell him. Pretty sure Jeff told him not to go to Salt Lake, too. here's the reality of the situation. A lot of people are hurting right now. A lot of people are in pain. A lot of people are freaking out. A lot of people are angry. A lot of people are sad. A lot of people are upset. And the number one thing you can do to fight the actual virus that really does exist is to boost your immune system. And whatever is stressing you out today is hurting you. So you need to change the things that stress you out today. That's it. If you're worried about your health, change your health. If you're worried about your finances, if working harder is not going to help, then you need to work smarter. You need to figure it out. Find the people that can help you find the answers. And most of the people making most of the noise do not have the answers. They have a megaphone. They can be loud. They could be forceful, but they don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. You have to do what's right for you. And if you have to take a step back and give it up for a minute, then take a step back. It's not worth the stress in illness to worry about something that you can't control, right, Provost? Provost tells me all the time, you can only react to the things you can control. If you can't control it, then all you can change is, all you have control is how you react to it. I say that over and over like a broken record. Snorelord and I pay the same day if I feel awful. Yeah, I noticed that, Joe. Robert says, I have listened. You've been a big help, seriously. I know, Robert. I'm just giving you crap. And, you know, most mega carriers have started with one truck. And it does make it harder for the little guy. Trust me. I'm watching my loads disappear that I take all the time from here because of Wilson Logistics. You know, and you know what Wilson did? They went out and bought a bunch of them Celadon trailers. And they went and literally took over freight that KLM and Prime had. Instead of Prime and KLM trailers, it's all Wilson trailers. And I noticed that my loads that I take are disappearing. They're not there. Every now and then a scraggler come up, a tender rejection. And that's what the spot market is tender rejections. Kevin, are you going to hang out with those JB? It was almost an hour, and I've probably ticked a couple of people off. Do I like the situation that we're in? No. Do brokers tick me off? Absolutely. A lot of brokers are going to a click and go, which is helpful because they're not answering their phones. So they're answering emails instead. One particular broker just added a base bid option on their app that wasn't there before, and I bid and they took that option off. They did not like my bid. And then when I emailed them, I was ignored. That means I may not want to do business with that person because the rate they were asking for was literally 80 cents a mile. I refuse to support that unless I'm in a situation where I'm 2,000 miles away and I need to get home. or I made enough money going in. If you're making $2.20 a mile to go in to say Phoenix, and you get 80 cents a mile back, you protected the profit from the Arizona load. That's what that's meant for. But to run your entire business, point A to point B to point C to point D, all for 80 cents a mile for the entire month, that's not ideal. And, but I don't think it's that bad. Why? Because you can at least get $1, $1.10, $1.20. Right now, this is how screwed up the spot market is, guys. Right now, it pays better to come out of Florida than it is going in. How screwed up is that? Nope, heading to the next pick. Deliver Sterling Salt Lake City. Anyways, speaking of going back to work, I'll go back to work tomorrow. And I don't have my Monday load booked yet. I deliver Monday morning. But some of the stuff I grab usually post on the weekend, so. Everybody go check out bigrigceo's video. He was on a rant. It was a good rant, because it was kind of how I was feeling Friday. And it's all screwed up right now. Someone's hit the reset button. There's a fire going across the land. And every headache that you have right now on running your business is based because the government did this to us. So think about that when you go to White House and you want them to have pity over us. And yeah, are there other companies that got the stimulus package that didn't deserve it? Absolutely. Are there multi-million-dollar companies that had lobbyists and were able to get in? Absolutely. But we're not a capitalist country anymore. We are a corporatist country. There's a difference. You add greed, and you have corporatism. And if you want to be a businessman with morals, more power to you. And that's what we need more of. And so if we can teach new business owners how to keep track of their miles, how to keep track of their business, how to diversify, how to create a better situation for themselves, that will be, you know, if the independent owner-operators can all get together and show that these mega carriers, that we can control the market, then we're in good, right? And we have to do that one truck at a time, and it's going to take time to do that. Wanting a minimum rate or a special thing given to you by the government only makes you more reliant on the government. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want the government telling you, well, you know, you've made too much? Or, you know, do you really want to give the government the upper hand, which they already have? But just remember, we are in this predicament because there's no demand right now. And there's no demand because the government said you got to shut everything down, and we'll arrest you if you attempt to open your stores. We'll arrest you if you don't wear a mask. You know, look at California. California keeps slicing themselves every year. Hey, you know what? For example, in California, if you want to buy ammo, you have to background check like you're buying a gun. You have to have a CCW to buy ammo. So what's going to happen? That tax revenue that they could have made off that ammo is now going to go to Arizona. We're going to go to Arizona and buy that. People always find a way around things, right? And that just opened them. So that's less tax revenue that California's going to get. So they keep going further in the hole, further in the hole, further in the hole. Well, now, that's the whole damn country. You want to be mad at something? Be mad at that. You know, that poor schmuck at TQL that didn't want to give you the good rate, guess what? He's suffering too. He's working at home with subpar sound. He can't. He's been told not to give you more than 90 cents a mile. Out of water. James G, what's up? Life gets a lot better if we stop worrying about what anyone else is getting and start focusing on what I'm doing to make my life better. There you go. Chuck, you said it all. Yeah, a lot of Comiforians are buying ammo in Arizona. See, all you got to do is read between the lines, look at the bigger picture, puzzle pieces together. Somewhere on the far left and somewhere from the far right, the pieces in the middle, that's where the answer is. Are there brokers making a killing right now? Yes. Are there shippers barely paying right now? Yes. But the reality is, we're all in this game, and you got to figure out how to play it. And you don't need government to step in and tell you how to play the game. COVID-19 is an excuse for the economic slowdown, or is the question. The stimulus at $2,500 a month till January 2022 would be about right. I don't think there's enough money in the world to do that. Alan Bequette, good evening. Look, I don't get political too often. I just know that telling people to stay indoors and wear a mask is not helping the health. The stress and the lack of being able to build your immune system and our diet, because restaurants, you can still buy your food at a drive-thru, more than the virus. And if you watch the news, they're inflicting fear. And the news is, now we're going to bring the kids into it. Oh, there's been a string of kids that are mysteriously sick that we can't explain. So now we're going to shelter our kids even more, right? Have too many contractors that want to sign on, and we will help as many as the insurance allows us. We got money for $2.2 trillion. I'm talking less than $800 million. Denise White, hello. Charles Brandt. All right, guys. Well, this is the end of this feed. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it made you think a little bit. If we help each other out, we'll figure this out. But in the industry, you want to make big changes on how things are done, it has to start with you. Change yourself.